Things people get frustrated. A lot of the cooks and chefs in the kitchens, they don't like to work with fresh thyme because you got to take a few more steps with the thyme. It comes out in these little branches almost, and you want to stem in your fresh herb mix. There's also a trick where you can pop the herbs into the freezer for just a little bit, rub them together like that. That kind of helps them sprinkle around a little bit, plus it makes your hands smell wonderful for the rest of the day. Or a combination of both. I just like to go ahead and strip through, pull those herbs off, slide them down. And by me doing that, they're going to get about the size that I want for when I rub this pork. But I'll do the same thing. I'll still run my knife over them. And just give it a little bit of a chop. Now notice the guy up front was looking at me. Yes, I'll do the spin again real slow. Don't try that at home. Okay, gang, we're going to take some of the fresh herbs, and same thing, we're going to try and get down into those pockets. We want to rub that in there really good. Let the herbs kind of perfume that roast as we're going along. And then the final thing that we'll do before we place this into our oven is we're going to take some of the bread stuffing and stuff it right in the center of that. See, I've kind of made a hole through there in the middle there. We'll take our bread stuffing right in the center. Now, when you pick this roast up at the market, they will have a pan very similar to what you see here. You can certainly roast it in this. I like getting the larger size just so I have a little bit of room to play with, a little bit deeper. Plus, it's a nice touch if you want to add in some vegetables to it. You know, yesterday when we did our prime rib roast, we added in some baby carrots. We also added in some shallots. That would be a great thing to do. Okay. And if you see on the recipe, we've got our stuffing in the middle, we've got our sage, we've got our thyme around it, a little bit of salt and pepper. This is also something you could do the day before. Again, as you're getting ready for your holiday party, time becomes precious, but this is something you could definitely do the day before, the night before. Lightly cover it up, to put it in the refrigerator, and be ready to go. Any questions about this? What about from some of the folks who said they've done something like this before? Does seem a little bit easier maybe than what you've done in the past? You know, again, the whole thing of what we're trying to do today as well as yesterday is show that you can do these holiday meals. They don't have to be complicated. There's nothing to be intimidated by. And then you can be the hero at home. Okay, the next step, if you'll look on your recipe, we're going to talk about the sauce that we're going to make with this. Obviously, we're not going to have enough time to cook the roast here at the demonstration that we're doing. But if you'll follow along through on your recipe card, you want to get your oven up to about 350 degrees. Any hotter than that, you're going to end up roasting the bones, because this roast is going to take a while inside the oven. So you want to make sure that it's not too hot, otherwise you're going to blacken the bones. You're also going to burn the stuffing. Again, with the instant read thermometer, you guys ever seen these? Many of you probably have them in your drawer at home. They're showing up okay there. My ladies up front here in the corner, you're going to have to make sure that I'm pointing things the right way. You'll tell me. Yeah, those are great to do. Obviously, since we have the stuffing in the middle, when we go to take the temperature, you're not going to want to go in the center, because the only thing you're going to be testing there is the stuffing. But what you want to do is kind of go in from the side, in between one of the pork chops here. Okay, and that'll give you a good temperature. Again, I like to go somewhere between about 135, 145. You can go as high as 150. Anything above 155, guys, you're going to start having real tough pork. Any questions or comments, horoscopes at this time? No, that all seems pretty simple. I guess I can bring one of my assistants up here. You guys can come help me. We'll make this dish no problem. You'd like that, I can tell. All right, if you pull out your recipe, I want to talk about the sauce a little bit. I like using wine. I also like using fresh stocks in my sauce. But let's face it, again, during the holiday time, and these broths from Swanson, Weis label, we also have some natural or other organic stocks on the shelf. Those are great to use. Not everybody has time to make their own stock or their own sauce. These are a great substitute. I use these in my kitchen all the time too. I wouldn't recommend using beef bouillon or beef cubes or any of the stock powders. Those things tend to have a lot of salt in them and a lot of other chemicals that I don't think you want to put in your food. Again, the best thing would be to make your own chicken stock. If you can't, one of these is perfect. They're convenient. They seal up real nice. And I also like using wine. Today we've got a Pinot Grigio that we're going to use in our recipe. I like the flavor of it. It's not as sweet and buttery as the Chardonnay. I think it's going to hold up well with the pork. You could certainly use a Pinot Noir. You could use a Merlot. You could use a Cabernet Sauvignon. Really anything that you want. You know, just make sure that if you wouldn't drink it, you don't want to cook with it. Okay? And also, I have to take temperament. I see a couple of our cooks in the back. Make sure that you have enough for the recipe and enough for the cook. It always seems that whenever the cook is cooking, there's a glass or two by the range. They keep some for the recipe as well.